What's up and welcome to my guitar channel. Today we are going to have a look at the new Neural DSP plugin, Archetype Tim Henson. Now there are loads of people doing reviews on this and doing quality work, so instead of showing you the basics that everyone else is doing, I'm going to try and show you creative use of the tools within this plugin. To kick the video off, here's something creative I did with this plugin that probably would not have happened if it weren't for the plugin itself. For myself, I find tone is a very important part of the creative process. Usually what I do is I find a sound and then I start creating with that sound. With my electronic music, I try and take this to more and more extremes because it's interesting to me. Having static, boring things going on in electronic music doesn't excite me. However, if the song can get really weird but still remain musical, that captures my attention. That gets me really excited. When I write for my band, I'm limited to what sounds can the guitar make, what sounds can the drums, the vocals make, that type of thing. Because one of the things that I really don't like is you hear this amazing song with this awesome production and crazy instrumentation and all that stuff, and then you go and see the person live and all they do is play an acoustic guitar. For me, the music that is written and what you hear on the song needs to be easily reproducible when live. Something like this plugin starts to blur the lines between what is possible in the studio and what is possible live. Now, if you haven't guessed already, my favorite aspect of this plugin is the Multivoicer. This tool can create some very simple additions to your sounds, or with just a little bit of tweaking, it can create these insanely complex textures that are impossible to achieve without a similar plugin. Fortunately for me, I'm already relatively familiar with a few similar plugins, so it was easy for me to sink my teeth into it. Although nothing I have is the same, the approach is similar, but each has its own strengths and weaknesses, and in those strengths and weaknesses do you get your creativity. So one thing that I love about these complicated pitch shifty type of plugins is the inherent randomness in the system. They are built to exacting standards. So what I've got here is this is locked into E minor, which means I can play the notes E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, and D. And it won't get confused. It will do the correct harmonies as per what intervals I've set on the intervals tab here. Now, of course, I do need to stay in tune because if I'm out of tune when I do this, then it's going to freak out because it doesn't know what the reference pitch is. We can also make it freak out on purpose. I've just listed all the notes that are in the key that it knows what to do with. If I play some notes out of the key that it doesn't know what to do with, then we get interesting results. I'm going to play the notes for you, D sharp, E, F, and F sharp, and you're going to hear a few of the voices doing weird things. So let's listen to just this one voice at the moment, the voice 2 actually, but so as you see there, what's happening essentially is the DI, this is the actual line that I played. This second voice is looking at what happened in the DI and is playing according to what that's doing. Now technically this is doing a great job. If we take the notes from theory, then whatever we play, this is adjusting down a fourth. When we go from E to F sharp, the harmony, the fourth below, goes from B to C. Of course, E to F sharp is a tone or 2 frets away, whereas when we go from B to C, it's only 1 fret away. So what this program does, when we play one of those intermediate notes, it plays a quarter sharp. When we play a note that's out of key, the program looks at the reference around it. So it knows that B belongs to E and C belongs to F sharp. But when we play F, the program goes, okay, we know that we can't use either of those two, so we're going to go for what's dead in the middle. Now, this is a note that doesn't fall on the guitar. You can bend up to it by doing like a half fret bend, but it's something that you can't really easily produce. However, it gives you these quirky, interesting things to play with. But think about this for a second, because if when you play E and it thinks, okay, you're playing E, I need to play B, it cannot look back in time and it cannot look forward in time. It cannot anticipate where you're going. So with that logic, how does it deal with a big, slow, long bend? Every time it attempts to receive information and spit it out, the information has already changed. So by its nature, the program freaks out. This is the type of thing that I really want you to experiment with after you watch this video. So let's quickly look at the detune and delay tab. One thing that is really fun with this is you can play around with the timing. So if we just play this, it's not going to sound good, but what this is doing is actually controlling 2 parameters at once. So we've got the delay, which means how far it comes after the sound. So let's just turn the delay down on this one. And the detune, so how sharp or flat it repeats. Now for me personally, I actually love the delay because it already does pitch bends in there. Super fun. So now that I've chucked some little automation just on the delays, let's see how whacked out this sound can get. How interesting is that? And the beautiful thing about this is because it's automated, I can play any different set of notes and it will react differently to the different sounds. There'll be different notes and harmonies and stuff going on. But the way that the voices move, it's imperfect, it's crazy, it's weird. But because this is automated in, so long as I'm getting my timing right, this is going to have the same weird wackiness every single time, and I can simply experiment with different notes and see what works best. And then you click over to the delay and reverb and you can add in kind of whatever textures you want, and things start getting even more wacky. So let's look at some of the things that I actually don't like about this Multivoicer. So there's 2 things that I think are missing from the voice meter that would be really useful. The first one is a switchable DI, so you can just toggle it on and off rather than having to drag the level up and down. Dragging the level up and down is fine if you're trying to get the right balance, but if you're trying to see if it sounds better with or without, then it's kind of annoying to have to drag the slider up and down, and it's the only voice you can't do that with. Doesn't really make sense, and it is a useful tool. The second thing is a formant filter. If you don't know what a formant filter is, it's what's happening to my voice right now. So effectively what it's doing is
changing the upper harmonics to
give me a different tone
for when, if the pitch changes.
Adding in a formant filter I don't think would be too difficult, but it would actually
increase the usability of this
massively.
Because immediately when you start playing around with formants and we're already playing around with pitch and that type of thing, it just gives us
a much
larger range for creativity.
So I would really like to see that come into this plugin at some point. So there's a really weird thing that happens. I'm going to play you a couple of presets. I've just reopened this fresh set, but it kind of freaks out before it figures out what it's supposed to do. Right, that sounds wrong. There we go. So it took, what, I don't know, 10 seconds before it finally figured out what it should do. It's going to happen again. And here it's really well pronounced. Like, why is that necessary? That should be fixed. I know that will be fixed in an early update, but I just think it's important to point that out to you and not be surprised. So wrapping up, I really like plugins that allow you to be creative. If there's anything out there that sparks your creative imagination, to me, it nearly justifies buying itself. For that reason, I would happily recommend this product. Neural DSP have amazing plugins. I really do recommend as well shopping around before you buy. Neural DSP comes with a 14-day free trial, so any of these plugins you can try and see if it actually suits your needs. If all you play every single day is Polyphia, then sure, go and use this. For me, however, I play Polyphia very rarely. I much rather some solid metal tones that do clean up really nicely. So would this plugin be ideal for me? Probably not. One final bit of advice that I've got for you is open the plugin and play around. See whatever you've got, see if you can replicate the sounds on that. There are two really good reasons for doing this. First reason is if you can recreate this sound with a different amp, sim or whatever on your own system and your own processors, then you've educated yourself. You've given yourself a new way to find out how you can use your existing tools, and that may lead you to not needing to buy this, because if you didn't know how to do it before and now you know how to do it, that's fantastic. The second reason why this is an advantage is it allows you to see what your limitations are. So if you try and you can never get your stuff to sound good enough or close enough or anything like it, then that is a point where you do need to upgrade your stuff. Or if you can get to make that sound, then great, you've just figured out that the tools that you've already got can already do the job that you need them to do, and you may not need more gear to be able to play better or play the sounds that you're after. It comes down to you and learning more. So anyway, that's it for me this week. What else would you like me to do? Please let me know in the comments below. If you like this, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye.